In mind, one thought at a time.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Changing Minds Sunday Night Inspirational Call. How are you doing today, Jessica?
I am doing awesome, Akina. You know, I had such an amazing weekend. I had an experience of a lifetime where I actually hiked the entire Grand Canyon from all the way from the top of the southern rim down to the Colorado River, and it was just so amazing. I got to see the sunrise and the sunset at the Grand Canyon, and I have to say the experience was really just so surreal. It was amazing because, you know, we are obviously both very productive women. We do a lot, and I really just want to emphasize the need to take time for ourselves and to recharge and to unwind and just really fuel ourselves, just pump ourselves up with the greatest, you know, possible energy when we really just, you know, take care of ourselves, our bodies, and we spend time to really renew our minds and our hearts. It's just so powerful and so wonderful. You know, today I just had a great experience on the plane ride home. I met this amazing person. I had a phenomenal plane ride. It just seemed like a, 5-hour flight went over, and it seemed like less than an hour. It was a great experience. And, you know, I'm so ready now to tackle my business, and that's what we're going to talk a little bit about tonight, Akina. I know you had an amazing weekend, too, that you're going to share with everyone, you know, what your weekend was about. And tonight we're talking about not really just, you know, focusing on ourselves, but talking about the importance of friendships. And I know as entrepreneurs, as women who are powerful, you know, oftentimes women compete with each other. And, you know, you want to one-up your colleagues or one-up the people that you feel like you're in competition with, or, you know, you have this facade. You feel like you need to put on a facade of being really strong and really powerful, and maybe having, you know, you might purchase designer clothes that you can't really afford, but you think you need to have in order to impress people. And Akina, you know, one of the things I love about working with you, and I said this to someone just recently, and I didn't even tell this to you, I wanted to share with you how grateful I am that my business partner and I are friends. And, you know, I was talking about you, Akina, to someone, and, you know, when I was leaving, and I don't know if you realize this, Akina, and, you know, it was significant to me, you know, when I told you I was going to Arizona, you're like, well, text me when you get there and let me know you got there okay. And I really appreciated that because it showed really just the genuine friendship we have and the concern you have about me. And I know that's why we work together so well. So when you, you know, came to me today and you said, hey, you know, I know you had this amazing weekend where you learned, and really not learned, but it was really reinforced for you, the importance of friendship. I knew that, you know, like you said, this was going to be a great topic for our show. So, you know, I just want to thank you for being a great friend, and I'm really excited to just dive into this topic tonight about how friendships can be really, really beneficial, and not only beneficial, but are really crucial to the overall balance and well-being of a woman who is an entrepreneur.
Oh, yes. And first of all, thank you, Jessica. I appreciate you as well. You know, we do work very well together, and, you know, we're like the yin to each other's yang. You know, it works. And it's good to have, yes, and, you know, we never really leave anything uncovered, and that's good. You know, that's one of the reasons why I do learn a lot from you, and hopefully you learn some things from me. And, you know, and that's the importance of friendship, you know, to have, you know, like-minded people that's going in your direction. They may be going in it in a different way, but they're still going in the same direction as you. They have the same values. They have the same motivations. And it's good to be able to have that person to vent to be able to share your secrets with, that person that is there when you need to talk a problem out, and they're there to offer that support and that kindred spirit. You know, that is what I learned about yesterday. I went to an event yesterday. I was invited by someone I met on Periscope, and she was like, I'm going to be in town, and I'm going to be at this event. I would love to meet you. Please come by. And I was like, most definitely. And I just so happened to have my friend from Huntsville come up to visit me, and, you know, she's definitely into those types of cultural things. So I took her, and we thought we were going to a play, but what it ended up being was a panel discussion about my sister's keeper. And they said it was purposed that way because a lot of times women don't really support each other, or they have a problem with having healthy relationships with other women, and they felt that needed to stop. You know, we needed to learn how to cultivate. So they brought on people in the panel that one set of friends had been friends for 50 years. One set of friends had met each other in college and had cultivated a great relationship. One set had been family friends. They were bonded by marriage, but then they grew a relationship for over 10, 15 years. And then we had one individual that was on the panel that was 21, and she was talking about her perspective on being friends. So we had someone from 21 all the way to 75 on the panel. So all the age brackets were covered. We had lawyers on there. We had housewives on there. We had, the whole spectrum of jobs on there. And all of these women were faith-based. So that made, that was the commonality between everyone. And they talked about how they had equally yoked relationships, even though their backgrounds were different, even though their upbringings may have been this, that, or the third, maybe their job frames were this, that, and the third, but at the end of the day, they had a common bond, which was their faith, and then their love for each other. And they talked about how to have a healthy relationship with a woman. Knowing that, the first thing they said was knowing that whatever I tell her, I will never hear it again. And what does that mean? You're not going to go and talk to somebody else and hear what you had said out somebody else's mouth. That's what they meant by they never heard it again. Then also being able to have a conversation where they were not going to be judged. It was all about the betterment of the other person. No matter if the information was not what you wanted to hear, but they knew that it was for the betterment of the other person. And then also is the fact that they were all moving in a track of upward mobility, meaning they were all on the same path. No one was dragging the other one along with them. They were all moving together. They all wanted to be better. They knew that they couldn't have healthy relationships with people who were not moving in their same mobility in their faith, per se, in this particular instance. But even in their faith, careers, what have you, but they knew that they needed somebody who was moving in the same direction. They're not pulling nobody. They were all moving together. And that was the greatest part, because that meant that their relationship was solid because they were all equally yoked with each other. And a lot of times it was brought up in the conversation that, sometimes you're just not equally yoked, meaning that some people you think should come with you because they've been friends with you for 20 years. They may have been your childhood friend or your first friend or whatever, but your path may be not the same path they want to go, and they may not want to be on the same journey you're on. And you have to realize that there may come a time when y'all have to part. And it's not a bad thing. It's just that y'all are not on the same path, and so y'all may be, good friends instead of best friends. And that's okay, too. I mean, I've had people that do that the same way, I was moving in one direction, they were moving in another direction, and so we stopped being best friends and we became good friends, or we just became friends. But it doesn't matter if you talk to them every day or once a month. When you talk to them, it's like the feeling never changed, like you talked to them yesterday. And the bond is super strong, and you always want the best for the other one, and you know that you're not going to hear what you said to them again. And that was some of the things that we learned. And that was an organization called Wives in Waiting. And they started out, the national leader is from Nebraska, and she has now branched it out to call Sister Circles. And there's one in Nashville, there's one in Houston, there was one in California, and, of course, Louisiana, and I do believe it's another place. But they're branching out everywhere. And they want the betterment of women who are wives in waiting, wives of God, to move into the next level. And there's a great cause, and, you know, you could definitely get more information on that, but wivesinwaiting.com. But, you know, what do you think about that, Jessica?
I just love so much of what you said, and, you know, it's really powerful, and really a couple things I want to touch on. And I also had a similar experience with you, and, you know, I spoke to someone as well. When I was flying back today, you know, and I said I had this amazing conversation with someone on the plane. And one of the things that came up is really when you change your life, how, you know, you tend to no longer be connected to people, and you tend to part from each other. And like you said, it's really not bad, and there may not be any big falling out, and there may not be any, you know, disaster. It may not be any hard feelings. It may just be you're no longer at that same, like, vibrational state and level as someone else. And, you know, whether or not, you know, you think about it like, and this person explained it in terms of chakras, right, where you have a lower, you're at a lower chakra versus a higher, you know, a chakra, maybe your heart or your, so, and, you know, for me, I like to look at it because I believe that we're all energetic and vibrational beings, that you are literally at a different frequency. You've changed your vibrational frequency. And here's the thing about it, and this is what I want to talk about, Akina. It's so important. Now, I know that you and I have both had this experience where we really changed our life. And I know people listening in are on that journey where they're starting to kind of feel that resistance from people that they used to do really be great friends with. And maybe you just used to do things with people. For me, you know, after work every day, my routine when I was living in New York and before I was an entrepreneur and before I really changed my life was I would finish work and then go to happy hour. And I had friends, and they weren't really friends, but they were people that I just went out with after work. Well, eventually, and nothing happened, but I lost touch with the people because I no longer do those things. I no longer enjoy them, and I'm no longer at that same vibrational level as they are. But one of the things that, you know, one of the dangers that we can get into, especially when you're an entrepreneur and you're working a business or you are constantly putting in all the effort and you're making sacrifices, right? So entrepreneurs, I always say, and I love this quote, I don't really know who said it, but I mean, I just really have seen it on Facebook before, but, you know, an entrepreneur will do for a while what others won't, so we can do later what they can't. And it's true. We make a lot of sacrifices as an entrepreneur. You know, there's times when we might want to be going and doing something fun, and instead we're working our businesses, especially if you're a full-time employee, you have a job, and then you're working your business part-time on the side, is you tend to sacrifice friendships and relationships. And I feel like the problem is amplified when you're doing a lot of personal development and when you're really moving your life to the next level, because what's beginning to happen is, you know, you're no longer at that same place, like you said, with your older friends, but because you're putting in so much work and effort to do really networking, to grow your business, to really make those sacrifices, to really do those phone calls, to do all those startup things it takes to create a business, that you don't spend time going out and just creating friendships. You know, you may go to networking events, whether or not you're doing like a BNI or a LETDIG or, you know, all these other networking events that you go to, and, you know, the Chamber of Commerce. And I know a lot of people who they go to all these networking events, and they have an incredibly extensive network. And it's amazing because, you know, your network is really, really important. But in the same sense, they don't have friendships. You know, they don't have someone they can just call to and talk about their day. You know, they don't have someone that they can call and just have a conversation that's not about work with. And it's really important for us to be balanced, for us to have those unconditional, loving friendships as well. So, and oftentimes it's the first thing as women that we put aside. And we do it because, number one, we feel like we don't have the time. The truth is we all have the same amount of time. We just don't create the time for that. We don't feel like it's important, so we don't prioritize it. And, number two, a lot of women have the perception that women are competitive. A lot of women tend to think, and rightfully you can kind of justify. I don't want to say it's wrong to think this, because you can justify that it's harder for women, right? We know that women, even though they perform the same jobs as men, they're typically not compensated the same way. So it can be harder for women to really create businesses, to really be successful. And oftentimes women feel like they need to compete. They feel like they need to impress other people. Women can be very competitive with one another. That's really not an abundant mindset. To think that way, it's not abundant. It's a scarcity mindset. That's coming from the perspective that there's not enough to go around, so you have to take from someone else in order to get yours. And that's not really powerful. It's not really abundant, and it's not going to be really what you need to adopt, the mindset you need to adopt to create your success. For me, the more you empower and uplift other people, the more successful that you're going to wind up being as an entrepreneur, because people are going to be more attracted to you. They're going to want to listen to what you have to say. They're going to realize that that you care about them, that you love them, and they're going to want to support you authentically. And to me, that's so much more important. But, I want to really just invite you for a moment, even if you're listening to our call tonight and you're an entrepreneur and you're listening here and you're saying, okay, I listen to you because I love to hear about your business tips. I want you to put that aside for a moment and realize that you are an entrepreneur, but you're first a woman if you're listening to our calls. And I know we typically, say our Sunday night calls are not geared towards women, but I know this call we really are kind of gearing it towards women. And I want to ask, apologize to all the men who are listening to our Sunday night inspirational call, but I think really women do this more than men. You want to try and impress, right? So there's this persona of, okay, let me get the latest designer handbag, let me get the latest dress, let me do this, and whose nails look better, whose hair look better. And the truth is, everyone's just competing with one another. It's not going to work. Right, as a woman, you must have balance. We always say that you can't give from a well that's empty. You have to take care of you first. It's not balanced to be really successful financially and to have no friendships. At the end of the day, at the end of your life, you're not going to really look back and think about, what business deals you did or who had the better shoes or who had this. It's really about having people in your life that love you unconditionally, that you love unconditionally. And if you don't have that, you will grow lonely and you will burn out. 90% of people who start small businesses, they fail in their first few years. And I would venture to guess, and there's no studies to back this up, but I truly believe this, that one of the main reasons why is because women are not, they're not building relationships. They're not building friendships. A lot of times modern women who are successful, they have this persona, they have to be strong and figure it all out by themselves, and they can't break down to everyone and be tough and this, that. But you're not going outside and just doing things for you. There's times when you go to networking events. There's times when you just have to go for brunch. You go to brunch with your girlfriends and just talk about boys or shoes or makeup or clothes or celebrities or, for me, football or whatever it is that excites you. There's times where you have both, and you're going to be really energized in those times. And like Akina said, it's about supporting and uplifting one another. And yes, sharing networks and all those things too. But it's also just about purely being friends and just enjoying each other's company. Akina, what do you think? I know you had a weekend with your friends. I mean, from your own opinion and experience, isn't it so important to just recharge and to spend time with people that you love?
Oh, most definitely. As I said, my friend came from Huntsville, and she's been doing a lot. She's been really busy. And that's why she came up here, to recharge and to rejuvenate and, and to really come together with her sister, and I was so glad that she did come, because we really had fun together, and we spent good time together, and it was just nice to have the conversations. It was nice to be able to spend the time. It was nice to be able to, catch up and have somebody who genuinely had your back, and genuinely cared about what was going on in your life and thought enough to come up and just share, because I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but I am getting ready to relocate for a little while, and she wanted to come see me before I relocated, and it was just so nice that she was like, look, I need to see you before you go, and that was just like the first thing that was on her mind. A lot of people are going to, be like, send me a text, bye, or whatever, but she took the time to come and actually see me, and that's a good friend. And, I didn't ask her. She was like, hey, I'm coming. I need to see you, da-da-da-da-da. That is the kind of friends that you want in your life. That's the kind of friend that will have your back no matter what. Those are the type of friends that you're building healthy relationships with and you're moving to the next level with, and it's on the train with you. And that is what, so definitely, Jessica, I do believe that sometimes it's just about recharging and moving and, just feeling good about being with somebody who cares about you, most definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's truly power in just having authentic friendships and really just taking the time to really just be with people. And, for me, and I made a habit of this, and I'm a professional network marketer, right? So a lot of times I'll go to networking events, or I'll go do something like I'll go hiking, and I'll go, to events where someone who I think may be interested in my products might be attending. And I will go there, and I'll go there for the purpose of finding, people who are interested in using my products or being part of my network marketing team. And I think there's nothing wrong. I mean, I love that because I love the products. The company's changed my life. The products have changed my life. And so I think there's, to me, I call it's a blessing for me. I want the people that I care about to learn about it. So I don't think it's a bad thing. But oftentimes I forget to go there and just really develop friendships. And a lot of times, for myself, I'll always prioritize things over friendships. And it's just really important. It's really powerful. And I really just want to emphasize the importance of really just cultivating this genuine friendships. At the end of the day, in our life, and I don't want to proclaim this over anybody, but in our life, we're likely to experience some sort of major crisis. Maybe it'll be a health crisis or a financial crisis or relation crisis. In our life, one of us or you will all experience to some degree something of that nature. You don't want to be alone when that happens. Your network, your business network, the people that you're on your sales team, the people in your company, they're not going to be the ones who are, holding your hand if you're in a hospital bed. And that's what you need to really understand, is that you want to have more than just business connections. You also want to have meaningful friendships and relationships. And that's something that I know for a long time that I didn't do. I would go out, even with my friends, I would go out and maybe be friends from my network marketing company. Maybe we weren't financially linked, but we were linked, by business. And I'd go out and right away I'd want to just talk about something that was business related. And, I would get the feedback, Jess, you're just too intense. Sometimes we just want to talk about something else. We don't want to think all the time. We don't want to always be networking and always talking about, personal development or stocks or bonds or whatever it is. Sometimes we want to just relax. And, if you're a person like me who is very intense and very ambitious, sometimes you need to just shut down and just focus on really friendships, focus on you, and just focus on just enjoying being in this moment. Akina, I know we covered a lot tonight, and we're almost at the point where we start winding our call down. Do you want to add anything in closing?
Oh, definitely. I had to learn the value of friendships. I, too, was very driven, but I really didn't get along with children very well when I was one, and I really didn't understand women very much when I became one. So, That was very interesting. My circles were small because, I was very blunt and to the point, because I was an introvert, so I didn't have a lot of time for conversation. I was always working and doing whatever, on the journey to being Dr. Finch, but at the end of the day, now that I see all of that I had behind me and all the friends that, I left behind, and they were good people, it was just that I was tunnel vision. And sometimes you got to get out of your tunnel and into the light and get into your life, because once you are ready to live, those people may not be there anymore. So, you have to cherish those friendships. You have to cherish those moments because they're not going to be there forever. And, I learned that the hard way. And now, a lot of times, the ones that I was able to, I did apologize and let them know, they were a valued member in my life. They were a valued moment in my life, and I would never trade them for anything all the time I spent with. I do regret not being able to say that to the ones who I may never see again. So don't make it a point to where you have to say it in hindsight. Say it now. Let the people know that you value them. Let them know that you value the friendship, and don't let them feel unappreciated. But if Jessica and I said something tonight that resonated with you, please check this podcast out and all of our other ones at Change Your Minds Online. You can also find us on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, and, of course, YouTube. Jessica?
Yeah, and, Akina, I love that. And I didn't even think truly, as you know, I'm a huge, huge, huge proponent of just letting your friends know you love them. Akina can tell you because I've sent her cards firsthand that just said, I appreciate you, I care about you. And thank you for adding that. It's, so true. I just wanted to say to everyone, I always end my portion of what I'm sharing in the podcast the same way, and it's letting you know I'm so thankful. I really I look at the numbers of people listening to our podcast, and I am often in awe and just so grateful for how many people are listening and tuning in week after week and just allowing us to be part of your journey of personal growth. And I'm just so grateful, and beyond words, I can't even really just say that I love you guys so much, and I'm so thankful for you for this opportunity. We couldn't do this, without you. And, we're so grateful for you calling in and being part of this with us. So on that note, please reach out to us. Contact us on Facebook, Changing Minds Online. Email us, contact us at changingmindsonline.com. If you have any questions, maybe there's a topic you'd like us to cover, just let us know. And if we can't figure it out, if Akina and I haven't, had that experience, we can't answer you, we'll bring someone on the Empowering Women series who can. So, let us know what you want us to cover for you. On that note, God bless. Make it a really powerful week, and I will be with everyone. We'll all be with everyone on Thursday night for Empowering Women series, Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great night, Akina. God bless, guys. We love you.
Good night, Jessica, and good night, everyone.